What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and I have Rhodey and perhaps Bobby coming along to go over. I guess it's safe to say this is the last sort of full real slate of the season, only because you know what happens next week. Next week, you get all these dudes you've never heard of that are going to be playing for these teams that are going to be sitting their starters. I think we're going to see. But there's Bobby. Let's get him in here. There he is. Oops. Hold on. There you go.
Hey, we were pressing at the same time. How's
There
it
he
going,
is in
guys?
the log cabin there. What is that? That's a.
I rented a hotel. We'll see how well the internet holds up. It's been very shaky, but I'm hotspotting on my phone, and for some reason, that seems to be working better. So I'm rolling.
Yep. All right. So I have an out at like 11:45. So I'll just start it and we'll get going. So compactest slate, 9 games. There's a couple of interesting spots that I wanted to go over with respect to motivation. Maybe just one I'll get to, but I guess I'll just do the same process that we usually do, and we'll just go over kind of position by position. I'll just start with Bobby. What are you looking at quarterback today?
Yeah, so it's an interesting slate. I think we'll get into some of it later on. I'm a little concerned just about like the fact that the majority. I mean, like it's week 17. It's always been like one of my better weeks, but it's we've got all this ownership on the Raiders. This is not a quarterback necessarily, but this is an overall thought. It does worry me a little bit because they have made it very clear that they want to lose these games. And I think it's the right thing to do. They need a quarterback. They'll take the number 1 pick. I just think that that's what's going to. I'm a little concerned that you might only see a half from some of these guys. So I'm a little worried about that, but. As of right now, I've got the usual suspects as my top owned quarterbacks: Burrow, Lawrence, May. The one who I have the most exposure to that is above the field, I've got 12% of Tyler Shuck. I like that play quite a bit, and then followed by Brissett, Mayfield, Darnold, Dart, and Rivers. That's sort of my quarterback pool. The one who I was trying to get to more, and I may even go out of my way to do it. Oh, I already said Baker. I might even get to a little bit more Baker. That's one I can sort of talk myself into. But Burrow, Lawrence, May, Shuck, Brissett are my main guys.
What do you think? What are you getting to? What are your thoughts there on quarterback, Rhodey?
Yeah, I like the top 3 guy, like Burrow, May, Lawrence. Those are kind of the top 3 guys. Sabersim is giving me the Tyler Shaw, about 12% actually, so I'm getting quite a bit of that. I thought I'd get a little bit more Geno in there, if only his price $4,400. It seems like he has a different projection around the industry. Like if you compare Sabersim and Goldie, and your guys, you're a little different. So you guys are about 2 points higher than Sabersim on that one. So that's a little different. He's only 4,400. I know they're kind of tanking, but I mean they got a decent total in a game that Giants don't want to really win either. So,
well, I just want to throw out one thing about the Giants that may be true, and they even said that we got it in the chat, like in their presser. Just throwing real quickly out that the Giants. Look, Mendoza is fine. This is not a loaded quarterback draft. I like Mendoza, but the Giants, I don't think are going to be like, oh, we just drafted Jackson Dart. Now we're going to draft Mendoza. I don't think they need the number 1 pick quite as much as the Raiders do. So just
I agree. I agree with that. So those are kind of the main guys I'm getting, and Sabersim's pushing it. I got a little Brissett about 8%, and then a little Dart in there about 6%. So a little mix.
Yeah, so I want to talk about motivation and stuff like that right off the bat. So the obvious, game environment is this Arizona-Cincinnati game with a $1 billion total. So naturally, both of the quarterbacks here are going to be in play. Brissett, again, he's just been a fantasy gold mine all year pretty much, and the game script is just kind of perfect for him being a 7-point underdog. And you know how they roll when they're behind. I mean, he just throws it 100 times. So.
Yep.
But both Burrow and Brissett are really, really good plays. And then you have Trevor Lawrence, who, the team is just freaking on fire. You know what I mean? They drop 40 balls on like every freaking team. And now they're playing a team who just got knocked out of the playoffs, who just gave up like 100-piece to San Francisco last week, and I know, Bobby, we were talking last week that Indianapolis did have like a decent defense for most of the season, but as these teams kind of like fall off, the defense is the first thing to go, and we saw it last week, and Trevor Lawrence and that team just blast people. So and they're still motivated to Jacksonville. So this is a tough spot to expect anything other than a big number really out of the Jacksonville offense. So he looks really good with very few issues. The May thing I get because they have some receivers out and what's his name is out also, and they're against the Jets, but I don't see the same ceiling that maybe other people see from this spot. I mean, they're a 100-point favorite. They're going to win the freaking game. I mean, I don't know what universe is going to have Drake May putting up like a huge score. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. So I put him below all those guys. And as usual, we'll talk about the great clown fiesta every week, that being the New Orleans Tennessee experience. And New Orleans plays the fastest of every team. They're playing hard every week. And even Tennessee is playing hard every week. I like Shuck as well. You both liked him also, and I definitely like him. So to me, and that I believe that both of those quarterbacks are trying. You know what I mean? Like New Orleans and Tennessee, they're trying. They've been trying every week. The May thing, I just don't think that has the same ceiling. The Geno thing, you can do, and the reason why you would do that in DraftKings is if you did him with those Raiders pieces, then it allows you to drop all of the high-priced guys in to a big buy-in lineup. But your point is sort of well taken, Bobby, that like the Raiders are want to lose, but I'll tell you something else. Pete Carroll's going to be gone, and I don't think he gives a fuck. I think that he's been around the block, and he's like, okay, you guys want the number one draft. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm winning. You're okay. You'll bench Brock Bowers on me. Fine. What are you going to do to me? You'll bench Mason Crosby on me. Ugh, what am I going to do? But I'm going to go with what I have, and I'm trying. Whatever it is. So we'll see what ends up happening there. And when we get to running back, obviously we'll get to the main bit of talk. Yeah. I don't know, and if I'm going to play Geno my big buy. Now again, for those who forgot, I'm in that FanDuel thing with a $30K implied buy-in today. So I have to make a really good big buy-in lineup for that. And what's easier about FanDuel? Well, easier. FanDuel as opposed to DraftKings is FanDuel does not have a min-price Michael Mayer. Like FanDuel, Michael Mayer is like unplayable. So I don't have to worry about the Geno on FanDuel part. But so that's where we are at quarterback. We're all pretty much in the same spots.
Can I throw one other thing out of quarterback, though? If you want to get different, and especially in the Millionaire Maker, I wouldn't put this in the 33, but maybe the $20. It is just interesting that no one's going to play. And I know the weather's bad or whatever, but you have two running quarterbacks with the highest ceiling on the slates in the afternoon game with Buffalo and Philadelphia. I'm not getting a ton of those guys, but I'll be more than double the field, which won't take much. You know what I mean?
Which one do you like? Both of them, or?
I like Allen better, but I think both he and Hurts are like just really interesting for large field stuff because it would not surprise any of us if they were clearly the highest scoring players on the slate or quarterbacks on the slate, and they're not going to get any love today.
Okay, running back. We saw this before even the week got started, but once Bowers was announced out, that kind of sealed it. You're going to have just a super duper high owned Ashton Gentry this week. He probably would have been real chalk anyway, even if he didn't put up the nuke last week. I mean, honestly. But now that he put that up, he's going to be in big buy-ins. He's going to be 70, and maybe I think even the Millie Maker, I think 50. At least. And it's a late game, but the problem is there's nothing to swap to. Like if you felt like it, I guess you could swap to Tracy if you felt like it. At the end of the day, but he's obviously a very very strong play. And then you have the other guys. So I think Etienne, I mean, especially with Wooten out or whatever, for all the reasons I mentioned, with Jacksonville going to put up a rating to put up a lot of points, he's the next kind of sort of obvious play, and he makes sense. And then I'm like, A-Chain is like a little expensive, I think, but maybe that makes him low owned. My Tony Pollard, all he does is put 100 yards up on the board every week. I don't know, maybe another low owned possibility. You're going to have to talk me into the Sampson business from Cleveland. I've heard a little bit about that, but I'm not really getting it too much. Pittsburgh, you might have Gainwell as like a wide receiver too. out of the running back position. If you want to try that, it was gonna be a Chalk Stevenson week, but what's his name? Henderson's gonna play, I think. So to me, it's like Etienne and Genty, and then there's Chase Brown from the Bengals. Now, the one I wanted to ask you guys about is Jonathan Taylor, okay? Because if you're going to play Jacksonville's, it would be nice to play like some Indianapolis guys. We'll get to the tight end piece later, okay? But you have Jonathan Taylor, who under normal circumstances, I would say, you know what, let's just roll here. But they did just get knocked out of the playoffs. I just wonder, like, if what they're going to do here. But then, like, they actually announced that Rivers is going to start anyway, even though they're out of the playoffs. So maybe they're playing here, you know? So I don't know. So running back for me, Genty, Etienne at the top of the board, and everything else is really just trying to be different.
I have to say I agree. Like, I think that Jackson, first of all, I think the way that Indianapolis just runs their whole thing, I think they will put their best foot forward.
Okay.
That's just my take. And yeah, should I go on running backs too?
Yes, go for it.
I am. Look, I think Genty's going to be much higher owned than even these projections are. That's just what it's going to happen. I agree with the 70. I think it could be as high as 85% on the big buy-ins. I really do. And I'm capping him at 65%, which is not fair much. I have 65% of him. that's I'm not going to fade him. I still think it's a good spot. I think they're going to let him play a little, enough. Also with no Bowers in there, like I don't really know like how we don't play some of him and Tucker, which we'll get into later. I do not like this Etienne play that I'm getting to a pretty decent amount. I know that McCaffrey had a good game against this team that I agree that has sort of, the defense goes first with Indianapolis, but also they face the Niners team that Niners have been unbelievable offensively for the last month and a half or so. Now Etienne can get there through the air. That's why I'm not going to get rid of it. So I am still getting to some of that, but I personally will not have that in my big buy-ins. It's the Colts are on the season going into last week, they were the number one rushing defense in the NFL. I don't think this is a bad rushing defense. If you're playing Etienne, I think you're hoping for him sort of almost being another receiver, but they've got 3 other good receivers healthy. So I'm not quite as high on Etienne as the others are. I am a little higher on Jonathan Taylor than I am on Etienne. And I like Chase Brown. The one I'm going to be well higher on. Well, actually, his ownership seems to be creeping up a little bit. I think Saquon's an incredible play today. I love Saquon. Like you said, not a whole lot of swap ability. I guess you could always drop down to Genty in the second half of the games or whatever. But I really like Saquon. So in my big buy-ins, it will be mostly Genty, Saquon. I also think James Cook. Other guys around 10% that I've got are Michael Carter.
You'll be sitting there with the late night running back hammers. Look at you with the Barkley and the Cooks and the
absolutely.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's what I'm going for right now. I mean, and I don't love the position like crazy today outside of those guys. The guy who I think is my get weird play, and I can tell myself the story. The Jets and the Patriots. It's no surprise to everybody to have a rivalry now. You can move the ball a little bit on the Patriots. I think if they let Breece Hall go, which I don't know that they will, I don't see that as being like that far-fetched. So I think he's my get weird play, and my other get weird play. I also agree that about the Gainwell thing being an interesting play. But I like Tony Pollard a little bit. He's got some major incentives over these next 2 weeks. I think it's another $500,000 for needs 150 yards over the last 2 games and 2 touchdowns. Now, are they going to do that for a guy who's not necessarily a part of their building future? I don't know, but I don't mind that spot. And I like that game, this is the time I think the New Orleans, Tennessee could win the money. So that's the other get weird play for me. Those are my guys.
So don't worry, we'll let you go first at wide receiver, Rody. So
that's not. I'm listening.
I know you're like we talked through all the running backs, but who are your preferred guys at running back? How about that, Rody?
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Genty, but like maybe not even like above only 44% on my DK builds. I like him. I feel like that's too good of a price. A lot of people are out there saying don't overthink it, just kind of like, let it go, like, lock it in or whatever. But I don't know. I don't mind that Geno stack either, that's super cheap, but we'll see how I end up. Etienne, Taylor, I'm getting Chase Brown. I don't know if you guys mentioned in that game against Arizona, I'm getting about 15% of him. And then just similar to all the guys you mentioned, Barkley in there at 7-8%. Pollard 7-8. All the guys 7-8%. Cook, Pollard, Barkley, Walker.
The one guy none of us mentioned that I wanted to ask you about, because you know him a little better, Bobby, is what do you think of Michael Carter this week?
Yeah, I think I did. I have like what do I have 9% of him.
Yeah, that's about around there too.
I could see like getting to a little bit more than that, but I sort of feel like in between. I mean, they weren't running the ball. Then with Carter, they actually ran the ball a little bit more, but they do have the receivers healthy. We'll get a double check on Harrison because he's technically questionable before, we'll probably find out in 15 minutes. But I have a little bit of interest in Michael Carter. I think that he's reasonable.
Why don't you start with wide receiver, Rody?
Okay. Yeah, receivers a fun one today. I mean, you got the Bengals, game is high, so Jamar Chase is going to project well. Diggs with May projects well. I'm getting a lot of Kyle Williams also in that same game with May. It looks like a $3,300 value. I like Tucker at value too. Some value guys like Trey Tucker at 3,800 obviously is a decent play, but you got Josh Downs at 4,200 in the Indy game. You got Jacoby Myers at 5,300. It's really weird how they got Brian Thomas as the third projected receiver in that offense.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one.
Even behind Parker Washington, he's getting projected more than Brian Thomas. That's crazy in that one. And then Chris Olave at 7,200. Guys I like. And then, T. Higgins in there too in that Bengals stack. I'll get a little bit of him. And then a lot of these other guys like Jack Beck for the Vegas as well is not bad projection at 3,700. In an offense, they're going to have to probably be chucking it. And those are some value guys and some of my main guys right there that I'm going to be rolling with.
What do you think, Bobby? Who you prefer in these? Any pivots or anything? Or?
Yeah, my main ones. I'll do my main ones and then pivot. I don't think that I don't like Stephon Diggs quite as much as I'm being told to like Stephon Diggs, but I'm okay with it. Like the one I'm most okay, the one I feel good about Chase. He's already been out there saying, look, he's still playing, and he wants to have a big game and all this stuff. So Chase and Myers, I'm getting to a bunch, and Smith and Jigba right after them. Then I really like Olave, and I love Mike Evans. I think look. Tampa Bay it's not necessarily a must win, but that's counting on Carolina losing. If Carolina wins and Tampa Bay loses, it's over. They get the matchup next week doesn't matter. I think Baker goes to Mike Evans a ton today. I think Mike Evans will be in my biggest buy-in lineups, and he's the one I'm well overweight on. Then it's the normal guys. Josh Downs I like. We saw that Rivers was looking to him a lot underneath. The other I like Brian Thomas quite a bit as a contrary. Instead of Jacoby Myers, maybe play a similar amount of Brian Thomas. That's something I'm sort of flirting with. Adonai Mitchell as a get weird play. I certainly am. I think there are a lot worse things that you could do. And the other one for me that no one is going to play that won all the money for Sheets included, I believe. And I think that why wouldn't we take another shot with Alec Pierce again? I think he was 5% owned on a showdown and he broke the slate. You needed to have him to cash in everything. And I think Alec Pierce at 0% ownership when Josh Downs is getting 15% or something like that. That's an interesting pivot to me. So that's sort of how I'm looking at it.
Okay. Wide receivers. Chase is obviously like a great play. Just hope that people don't underplay Higgins too much. He's projected at 15. Okay, that's fair enough. But if you don't play him and he comes up at like 9 or something like that, you're going to be really upset. So that's a very, very natural pivot, because I don't think you can get away. I mean, you could, but if you want to play Burrow with both of them, that's spending a lot. So I like Higgins as kind of a pivot off of that. Now, this should be obvious, but if they do somehow rule Harrison out, I mean, we just play Wilson again for Arizona, and you might even want to play Wilson anyway. How about that? Because from what I heard, if Harrison even does play, it's still going to be some kind of minutes limit, or something like that. So I think Wilson's kind of an interesting way to go. The Vegas thing, yep. I mean, with the Tucker, I mean, I thought that's who you were getting to, the guy that won Sheets all the money. I thought you were going back to him, but he's not low on. That's the difference. And I guess that's pretty much all I have. Anything different? I mean, New Orleans, Olave, JSN for Seattle. I mean, you could always try Ted McMillan, but again, playing Playing guys against Seattle's usually kind of rough business. And I agree with your take on Diggs. I don't know if I want to play him as much as people want me to play him either. You know, he doesn't really get all the work. I mean, it seems like he does when he's in there, but he doesn't get like all of the work, and it doesn't seem like a ceiling matchup. You know, so I know that they have other guys out, but I don't know. I think they're going to pound the rock. They're going to use both the running backs, and they're going to win 24-3 or something. I don't know. I don't know what kind of ceiling there is there. Okay, tight end. I guess I'll start again. Big difference between the sites with Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer 2,500. Direct replacement for Bowers. That has worked and that has failed. So you can pick which one you want to say is going to happen, but it's certainly a good way to save money, and he certainly has upside of his own. He certainly has a lot of talent. On the other side, you have Trey McBride, who's an incredible play for, at the top of the board. He's got a great matchup. He's got a great game environment and all of it. So he looks good. And then we'll go right back to who we play every week, and that'd be Tyler Warren from Indianapolis. One thing, listen, Phillip Rivers, he was good enough, but he was taking what they gave, sort of, and he was short-arming it a little bit, and that's fine by me. Tyler Warren did have 9 targets last week. He only got 3 of them. I don't remember them all, but that seems to be the natural idea, for a 44-year-old guy. Listen, if he wants to throw a couple downfield, they were pretty short, like the ones he threw downfield, I'll have to say. So I think Tyler Warren is obviously a really, really good play. The other one I will mention is on the New Orleans side. I do not want to play Taysom Hill. I do want to play Juwan Johnson, though. I mean, he is actually like lining up as wide receiver too. So I like that a lot. So you play Shuck with Olave and him. I mean, I'm literally considering that for my FanDuel big buy-in. I mean, honestly, it just makes a lot of sense. I know they're trying, and that's where they're going. And if Taysom Hill butts me, then he butts me. I mean, I don't know what else to say. So those are my main tight end guys. Bobby, you want to go tight end? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I have Juwan Johnson as my highest owned tight end as well. I've got like 31%. I love Juwan Johnson today, and he's the guy I'm the highest on, obviously. And I have him, then McBride, then Warren as well. Hunter Henry deserve, for the same reason the Patriots are missing guys. But I really like Brenton Strange.
Ooh, like that.
And I really like Harold Fannin that no one is playing for some reason, assuming that he does in fact play. So I'm waiting to find out if he plays.
I think he's good. No,
he's technically questionable. We'll see.
Okay.
But
we'll get all that in the next 10 minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. But as of right now, I actually think that his projection is a little low, and he's been not 128. No wonder I'm getting so much of him. No, I'm just kidding. I do like the Harold Fannin quite a bit, and I'm wishy-washy on the Taysom Hill. It feels like I'll probably end up just like at the 5% range. But I was trying to flirt with telling myself a story. Could I play Juwan Johnson and him in the lineup and get away with it again? I don't think I'm going to go that far, but I did consider it. Rody, how about you?
What do you got at tight end?
Yeah, pretty much the same guys. I like your call on the Tyler Warren about. I watched that game and he just kept missing him, and all the targets he was getting. I was like, man, Warren could have had a big game. He got those balls, so I like him. He's cheap too. Hunter Henry, I'm getting a lot of 4,500. McBride a little bit. Juwan Johnson, I have rather play over. I'm getting a lot of him actually, so rather him over Hill. Fannin again, he catch touchdown. I think Browns tried to spoil that Pitt game for him a little bit. So today, I mean, obviously Sanders is playing for a job and everyone. So I mean, they're going to be firing. So I like that call as well. And then Michael Mayer, I got a little bit of, not as much as I thought I would be getting though, but a little bit of him. So
hey, let me ask something, Bobby, only because you talked to me about him before. I don't know how much we talked about him at wide receiver, at least when you were talking about him. What do you think of the Kyle Williams?
I still want to wait on. So we've got Pop Douglas questionable, but I like the Williams play. I've got 11% of it right now, so that's where I'm at the moment. I'm waiting to update my stuff to see if Mario Douglas plays. That's, again, we'll find that out in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess we'll just go to defense. Usual caveats. I mean, I wouldn't play too much of any defense here, but I mean, the ones that are, seem pretty obvious to me are from the same game, really. Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I mean, both of them look like very, very strong defenses. I mean, not to even need the weather to be a factor, but the weather's a factor also over there. So that's tough. I actually like the Vegas Giants game as far as defense goes too. Not only to get like all kinds of natural leverage against all this chalk coming out of that game, but if you got tankers, I mean, like, you never know, that ball can fly funny. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think that's reasonable. I don't have it in me to do it with the Arizona-Cincinnati game, though. Like, normally I would say, whenever the ball's flinging around, like, play some of these guys. I don't think I can do that. I will say that the Jacksonville defense is probably pretty live here. I don't know about this Phillip Rivers situation still. So I think Jacksonville and their team meetings were watching Phillip Rivers short on the ball, and they're like, okay, now we know what he's got. It's kind of like when that the guy from what was the baseball movie with the guy who like broke his arm, the kid that broke his arm, and then Rosenweeder, what's that guy's name? Rookie of the year, and then in the championship game or whatever, like he had to throw a softball because his arm went, and the batter's like, I see, you're full of it now. Now I'm ready for it. That's why I feel like the Jacksonville defense is looking at this Phillip Rivers situation. Like, okay, you really are not going to be able to throw it deep. We're going to push everything up, and we're going to have a field day on you. So I think that's live also. What do you guys like on defense?
Yeah, I'm getting to like almost. I mean, again, I think the Browns play every week, and they try, and I think Pittsburgh is the worst playoff team in the AFC if they make it. That's not entirely guaranteed. I hope Cleveland wins this game, keeps my Ravens alive.
Yep.
By the way, maybe the Ravens learned something finally. Did anybody watch? I mean, yesterday.
You mean you should give the best running back in December the ball? I mean, like,
yeah, maybe that makes a little bit of sense when you're desperate too. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on before that.
Oh my God.
They probably beat the Patriots the week before and are in the driver's seat to have it to control their destiny. Anyway. But I've got the Browns Steelers as the top ones right now. I don't love how much I'm getting to the Raiders, especially without Max Crosby. Yeah. This is not a good defense. And the pressure they're going to be able to get on Dart won't be nearly the same. So I'm getting to 11% of it. I actually don't feel great about any of the defenses, to be honest with you. Somebody's going to put up a number. I'm having trouble figuring out who it is. Usually I've got very strong defensive takes, and I don't have that many today, to be honest. If there was one that I thought was low owned that I could tell myself a story, makes a lot of sense, I think it actually would be the Saints.
What do you got on defense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a really strong take either today. Looking at it, I'm getting a little bit of the Titans. I know you guys are liking the Saints quite a bit, but they seem like Saberson likes the Titans, and then the Browns. I think the Browns is probably my go-to today at 2,500. I kind of like that price the best, and it probably fits a little bit better. And then I'm just kind of spread out, basically 6 to 9% of all the other ones. It's real spread out today. So let's go with that. I guess it's pretty spread out.
All right. So what we're going to do is you're going to go first, Rody, and give me like, I don't know, who win the Millie Maker? What's your favorite stack? Just something just that you even haven't said or you want to reemphasize for everybody.
I don't know. I love like this Geno Smith, Trey Tucker, and Michael Mayer stack, and you can fit all the other pieces you want in there. It gets away from Genty. I really like that at the price. If he does a reasonable game on a 9-game slate, you can really have a lot of other pieces in that lineup. I kind of like that a lot. And I think that's what I'm going to do in one of my main builds today. So
you could do them all. I mean, you could play Geno with all three of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna play Tucker and Mayer, but I could put Genty in there or
That's what I'm
swap
saying. I mean, you
out
could
one
play
of
all
it.
4 of them is what I meant. I mean,
Yeah,
play all 4 of them. I mean, and that'll be a little chalkier, but
well, you will have some swappability though if you play that many
sort
of them.
of.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
if I hit on the other pieces, then I could
you're right,
really
they're cheap. Yeah,
swap. Like I could go like maybe swap around a Barkley or James Cook later if I wanted to get off Genty. If I left myself a little bit more receiver money to drop, like go up or down, you know. But yeah,
What do you got for me, Bobby?
All right, so my logical one and what I'll do in my big buy-ins is that you will have Mike Evans, some combination of Mike Evans, Chase, Juwan Johnson, and Saquon Barkley, all in the millionaire, the 33 millionaire. The absolutely terrible take, and it goes along with what you said about Pete Carroll, his favorite guy, his favorite receiver ever, maybe playing his last game at the same time Carroll maybe coaching his last game. The terrible take is that Tyler Lockett wins the $20 millionaire.
Oh, I love that.
Oh
my God,
there's something you can tell yourself a little story there. If
that
you want to.
That is just incredible. I am totally doing, like as you used to say, I'm definitely putting that in the $4. I mean, there's definitely the Lockett pivoting off of all the Hetch and Tucker and Mayer stuff. That and Tyler Lockett with all his history with Pete Carroll at 0.2% ownership or something like that.
Yeah.
I will say this, that you definitely have to play that in the 2-game late slate.
Yeah.
And you definitely have to consider that in late swap.
Yeah.
That's 100% sure. Like if you have some variation where you have like Mayer in the flex or some, or even Tucker, like in the flex somehow, or even the wide receiver, you swap him to what's Lockett, like 2,000? I mean, what is he? He's like nothing.
He's free now. He's free.
Yeah, so I love that. He will totally get him a touchdown at some point.
I think if they can, he'll do what he can, right?
Before the end of the season, he'll get him a touchdown. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is kind of like contractually, I'm obligated to say that both now I have to, because I always say that New Orleans is going to be in the Millie Maker and Tennessee, and now they're playing each other. So the hell if I'm not going to say that this game stack doesn't go crazy and make the Millie Maker. That's kind of guaranteed. But I was looking for a second one, and I was kind of lost. And you and Bobby, you sort of gave it to me when you were talking about something a couple of minutes ago. The team that will win the Millie Maker, that will just be the anti-hero of everybody, will be the New York Giants. Okay. Yeah. When you were saying that Crosby is now out and the Vegas defense is not going to get pressure. All right. Giants, you think they might be tanking, but I'll tell you this coach wants to win. Okay. And I tell you this, Jackson Dart does not have it in him to tank. Okay. Yeah. So I think that Vegas, if they're really obliging here and really don't want to win this game, I think the Giants could put up a freaking number here. And people will be playing, some Vegas, maybe a Giants run back or so or whatever. But how many are going to play Dart with all the Giants? Okay. Mm-hmm. Not too many. So not to mention, by the way, sneaky, the tight end from the Giants was ruled out yesterday. Okay. The Johnson, whatever his name was.
Johnson, yeah.
So even more stuff going to the Wandales and the Slayton. So that's going to be, everybody's going to wait for the 4:00 game and say, okay, let's get all our Vegas stuff home. And if not, you got to get Josh Allen and Philly and Buffalo and all these guys. Why don't we play them? Oh, but there's the Giants. They're the 4th team and no one's going to play them. I will take a shot with that for the Millie Maker. So that's going to be my deal.
Love it.
If you guys could stay with us after we let everybody go, I just want to talk to you guys for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why don't you give everybody the sound off?
Are we ready to go? I did have one question for you. If you had to choose between Baker and Purdy in like season-long championship, who would you pick?
Who is Sam
Purdy plays the Bears tonight, and then Baker. You're all on Baker today, so I just put in Purdy over Baker for my championship.
I would definitely play Purdy, and this is why. This is like really sneaky. Okay, I thought about this for something else. If Seattle is destroying Carolina at halftime, then this Tampa game means nothing.
Okay.
Okay. So it's very possible that Tampa eases up in the second half if they see Seattle crushing Carolina. And I think that's a very real possibility. Tampa already weirdly ruled out like their best player, their offensive tackle, the Wirtz, with like a nonsense toe injury. Okay. I don't think that they're going full out in this game, honestly. I think they think Seattle's going to beat whatever. And I would rather play Purdy, who basically they're in like, you know, they can with the number one seed. You know what I mean? Like they're going for this. So I would play Purdy over Baker.
I like that.
And by the way, Baker has just been awful. So
I know that's why I got Purdy in there. So yeah.
I think Purdy is the better play unless you are like. I think for seal. Actually, they're both probably even for ceiling. But I think Baker does have a ceiling though today. I still think he's a chance.
I know you're on Baker today. Okay, well that's cool. All right. Yeah. Well, I'll leave Purdy because I switched him in. All right, guys. As always, good luck and let's get it.
Let's get it.